Hello class, this is Professor Tweed again, and this is the second video for week 2 where we'll be drawing this floor plan that you see here. The first part of this assignment was to draw a wall section. That's in a previous video if you want to follow along with that. And in this one I'll be going really step by step of how you draw all of these things. Now in class I should go over some sizes of the doors and various things like that. So if you don't really want to watch the full video, just take off and draw. But again, this video is still very basic and I'll be going step by step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this drawing off to the side, and I'm going to come to AutoCAD and I'm going to start a new drawing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open that template drawing again. I have my wall section. That's the first part of the assignment. That's what you're seeing right there. And if you haven't done so, please save that. In fact, I don't think I saved it. So let me cancel this. Let me go to Big A, Save As, and this is week 2, part A. I'm going to call it for me. You can call it whatever you want. So I can save that. And then I'm going to open the template drawing again, so it's a sort of fresh screen that I can draw with. What I'm going to do to draw this floor plan is I'll basically start by drawing the walls, and then I'll go in and later and add the doors and the windows. For this assignment, we're not going to do the dimensions, so if I pull this back over real quick, by dimensions, it's the size is 40 there, that 8'0" there with the lines and all of that. That's not required for this assignment. What you want it to look like is, if I scroll down on the other page, you want it to look like this. But you'll notice that you do have pieces of text to call out the room name, so I will go over that as well. And as well this drawing title that we'll have there that we can do with text. So I'll pull this back over out of my screen, pull this one back over out of my screen so I can start drawing. The layers we'll want to use is actually walls for the wall layer. So I'm going to start by drawing on my walls, but again we'll be using the medium layer again, and you know I don't like this black color, so I'm going to open up the layers box, change it to cyan, and say OK, and close that up. So I'm going to start by just drawing the box, the whole shape, and this house is 40 feet by 24 feet. So I'm going to start by drawing a line. Click anywhere you want, pull over, and type in 40 with the foot marker for 40 foot, and hit enter. And then this house is 24 feet deep, so 24 foot marker, enter, and hover over that and pull straight down to draw a straight line across. Now the walls of the exterior walls of this are 5.5 inches thick, so I can easily set those up by going to offset, hitting the offset button and typing 5.5 inches, type enter, click a line, pull it in, click a line, pull it in, click a line, pull in, click line, pull in, and hit enter. And what I'll do is I'll just fillet the corners all up. So I'll hit my fillet button right here, click, select that line, select that line. I'm going to hit enter to start fillet again, so I can do that for all the corners. Click, click. Hit enter to start fillet. Click, click, hit enter, click, click. And I've sort of drawn my exterior walls. Now I'll need to draw some of these interior walls, and I'm just going to use various tools of offsetting and lines and other things. So I know there's a wall that basically goes across here that's set up 13'3". So I'm going to go offset. I'm going to type in 13 foot mark and 3 and push enter, and I'll click this line and pull it up, and then my interior wall heights, I'm going to hit enter to end offset. My interior walls are going to be 3.5 inches, so I'm going to offset that line, click offset and type in 3.5, hit enter. It's going to offset that 3.5 inches so I get a line across there. I'm going to have to do a bunch of trimming and stuff, but this is a good point because it determines the wall for 2 points. Now, the next dimension I have is from here to here. And you'll notice when I look at my sheet just really quick, and this is common, so I'll mention it now, that I have this dimension here, 15.3, and I have the next room, which is 8.0, but I don't have this one. And that's often the case, that since we know the whole building's 40 feet, it sort of gives the contractor some leeway when they're building, that you only give the most important ones. Quite honestly, this bathroom probably should be 8 feet. That's why it's dimensioned there. So if there's a little play in this dimension, we don't need it. If we put that dimension in there, then the contractor might build this, and he might build this, and he'd be left with less than 8 feet in the bathroom. And guess what? That's not going to work. So we dimension the most important things, and if some things are left out, well, you figure it out from just simple subtraction. And AutoCAD will do that for you. We don't even need to worry about what that dimension is. But it is going to determine the order we draw this. So I have to go from left to right. I can't draw from right to left just because of the dimensions that were given. So this first room is 15 foot 3 inches over. So I'm going to start by using the offset tool and go 15 foot 3 and hit enter. Select this line and pull it over. Again, the wall thickness is 3.5, so I'm going to go offset. And since I know this wall horizontal wall is 3.5, I can click here and then click the bottom there and click there, and I've just set it at 3.5, so I can click this line here and pull over, and now it's at 3.5 inches. I'm going to hit enter. We know the bathroom is 8 inches. 8 inches. It's 8 feet. So I'm going to offset again and do 8 feet, 8 foot marker, enter. Click here and here, hit enter, and then again offset again, but again 3.5 inches, so 3.5, enter. Click the line, pull right, and hit enter. One of the other things we'll need to construct is that there's a wall here, and this wall is up 3 foot. Actually, we can just pull it down. At the bathroom, 6 feet down from there. So I'll go offset, and I'll do 6 feet, enter, and I'll pull a line down from here to there, hit enter, and then I'll offset this again. I'm going to type in O for offset rather than hit the button. O, enter, 3.5, enter. Click the line and pull down and hit enter. The last thing I'll sort of need to do is there's a wall that is 3 feet 4 that's down from here. And one of the things I can do is I could just copy this wall. I'm going to hit copy, do a right to left green box of just those walls and hit enter, or click and then hit enter to end selection. I'm going to click a base point of anywhere. I'm going to make sure it's straight and pull it straight down, and then type in 3 foot 4 to end the line here. So we've got sort of this grid here, and there's a lot of extra things we need to get rid of by using trim and fillets and erases and various things like that. So the first thing is, I know that this wall here is only in here. There's really, these lines don't exist down here. So I can start trim, and I can hit enter just to make everything a selection. Oops, I did fillet by accident, I think, or something. So I'm going to hit the trim button again for real this time and hit enter. And then draw a box around there to get rid of those pieces. And I can keep going. I actually can get rid of that, and I can get rid of that. I can get rid of this, and I can get rid of this line, and I can get rid of this piece of line, and this piece of line, and that bit of line, and that bit of line, and these two lines here and here, and I've got this little wall that's set in right there. I also know I can get rid of, there's this little opening here, so I can get rid of that line, I can get rid of that line, and I can clean up the corners. Since I have trim, I'm going to keep using trim to clean up the corners, but I could easily have gone to fillet to make those corners nice as well. And then finally I need to get rid of this piece of wall and this piece of wall. So click there, and boom. You know, we gotta clean up these pieces, because always when we do walls, like in a floor plan, when two walls meet, they're opened to each other, as it were. And the thing we have to remember with this assignment, well, I've just cleaned up all these interior walls. I still have lines here where the interior walls meet the exterior. Those need to be trimmed up also, so I will continue to use trim. I'm going to start trim again, hit enter, and then I can just click those pieces of wall away. Click, 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 enter. And now we've basically got all the walls drawn. Now we do want to draw the doors and the windows and the kitchen for this assignment. So we'll just start drawing those pieces. I'm going to start with draws. I'm going to start with doors. The doors, let's see if it says, what is the door width? There's a couple pieces of dimensions we should know. We know that this door width is given to us, the main one is given to us at 3.0. So we'll do that there, but it looks like these are smaller. They might be 2.8 or something like that. I'm going to say they're 2.8. If the instructions say something else, just put what's in the instructions. And also we'll need to know the width of the door. By the width of the door, I don't mean from here to here like 3.0, but the actual piece of wood or metal or whatever the door is made of, from there to there. And for that, I'm going to say let's just keep it simple and do 1 3/8. Usually there's typical door sizes 1 3/8, 1 3/4 might really be the exterior door, but that's all handled in notes. So for your AutoCAD drawing, it's not entirely important to do that. So I'm going to pull this back over. I'm going to start by drawing the exterior wall, the exterior door, which is approximately here. And I need to find where this is located. So the way I'm going to do it, again, there's not one right way of doing this, but I'm going to start line, and I'm going to draw a line from the inside corner straight down, because I know I can see that the door starts at 18 feet. So I'm going to do offset. I'm going to do 18 feet, 0 and 1/2 inch, so 0.5, enter. I'm going to offset this line from here to here and push enter. Now I don't need this line, I just did it to be a guideline. So I'm going to select the erase, select the line, and hit enter. And then this door is 3 feet wide, so I'm going to do offset again, type 3 foot, enter. Click there and hit enter. And I will now trim this up. So I'm going to do TR for the trim shortcut. Hit enter. I'm going to hit enter a second time to take away those lines and to take away these lines. And hit enter. And I could go and draw this door, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to draw the rest of the doors in here. Now the doors in these locations, the dimension isn't given. So what we can assume in that case is that that the door for this room is centered in this room, and the door for this room is centered in this piece of wall, and the door for the bathroom is centered in this bathroom wall here. If they weren't centered, that's when we would be given dimensions. So the center point of this wall is pretty easy because it's going to be the midpoint of that line. Press escape there. So I'm going to draw a line down to draw the end of the wall, and I said that we're going to make these doors 2'8". So I'm going to offset and type in 2'8", enter, select my line and offset it. Now right now this is from centered over, so we have to move this. I could move it 1'4" back to be even. I just did 2'8" divided by 2. But if you don't want to do math and if the math is getting difficult, we could do it graphically. So I could draw a line just temporarily from corner to corner, hit enter, then hit my move button, do a left to right blue box to select all 3 of those lines and hit enter, find my midpoint and move it over to the midpoint of my original line. And when I do that, I know this midpoint is going to be at the center of that wall. So I can erase this line and I can trim out TR, enter, enter a second time, there and there, to create that opening for that door. Now these 2 doors, I actually can't use midpoint snap. If I try using midpoint of this wall, it's going to be, well, I guess I suppose I could. It's hard to tell from the drawing exactly what is used. I could do the center point here. It's possible they had a specific distance up from the edge, or it's even possible that they're doing from a center point from this wall to this wall, which isn't even given. Right, and I could figure all that out in AutoCAD if I wanted to do that. But I think what I'll do is I'll just assume that it's centered point of this wall, so that when you're in the space, everything looks nice and centered. I'll hit enter. Now, if this were a real drawing, you know, the contractor might have to ask for clarification on those points since there you could have different interpretations. But I'm going to start from the midpoint of this wall. Do the same thing like I did in the other side. I'm going to start there and click enter to draw the line. I'm going to hit offset and do 2 foot 8, enter. Click this line, click it up, push enter. I'm going to hit the move button, select these two, push enter, select any old base point and move it down 1 foot for enter. And finally I'll trim it out. Trim, hit enter, select those lines, boom, and they're gone. Now I can make this side a little easier because it's going to be identical to this side here. So I'm going to start a line and draw it straight over and hit enter, and draw a line, draw it over and hit enter. And then I'll trim up these things. So I'll hit the trim button, hit enter, boom, 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 good. And we've drawn that as is. So I have all the openings for the doors in it now. Now I want to draw the doors themselves. Well, the doors themselves, they're going to be on a different layer. So I'm going to go change my layer and we're going to put the doors on the medium layer. And I'm going to zoom in to this outside door, and I'm going to draw first the rectangle piece of the door and then the arc piece of the door. And to do the rectangle piece, I'm going to use the polyline just so it behaves as one. So I'm going to hit polyline. I'm going to start right at the corner. I'm going to pull up 3 feet because that's the width of that door. 3 feet, and I'm going to go over 1 3/8 inches because that's the width. Oops, I misclicked there. I'm going to do U enter to undo. Sorry. I'm going to do 1 3/8 enter. And then I'm going to come straight down another 3 feet, 3 feet, enter, and then over to close off that object. Now when drawing the arc of the door, one of the best ones to use I find is I'm going to go to arc and I'm going to not select the main one. I'm going to hit this little arrow here to get a pull down of other ones. And I like start end direction as an easy one to use. There's a few other that you can use, but I really like it because it stands out because of this arrow. It catches my eye, and so when I know to do door, just look for the arrow. So I'm going to select that button. I'm going to start at the end of the door, hit my endpoint. I'm going to start at the opposite end of the wall, click the endpoint there, and I'm going to pull, in this case, straight up so I get that double green line that's going down into the right of my drawing. That tells me I'm drawing a perfect quarter arch or arc. And click, and there we go, I've got the door. And I'll zoom out here, and we've got to do the same thing here. So there's another door for the bathroom here. I'm going to hit polyline. These doors are only 2 5/8 inches, so sorry, 2 foot 8 inches. Getting ahead of myself there. 2 foot 8, enter. I'm going to go over 1 3/8, come down, come over and hit end. So finish drawing the line. Should be good at this at that point. I'm going to hit this arc button since it's the last one I did. It's the start end direction. I can just click it with the arrow. Click the end of my door. Click the end of my wall. Pull up. Get the double green line and click. Now since these two doors are identical to this door, I could redraw each of those doors, but it's going to be far easier just to copy them. So I'm going to hit my copy button. I'm going to select those two, the polyline and this arc, and hit enter. For now I don't care, so I'm going to have to rotate it, so I'm just going to hit my base point anywhere, move it down, hit enter, and I'm going to rotate this. Hit my rotate button, green box to select those two objects, hit enter, click a base point on or near the door, and move my cursor up so it goes perfectly 90 degrees in that direction. I'm going to hit my move button. Once again, select the arc and the door itself, hit enter, select this base point here at the end of my door and move it right into my wall. And there we go, I've got it placed there. For this one I'll mirror it over. So I'm going to hit my mirror button, select the arc and the door, hit enter. I know this wall is centered about everything, so I can select the midpoint of that wall and pull it up, and the door gets jumped right into place. And in this case, do I want to delete my original object? No. So I'm going to click on the No button. And I've got my doors. Next thing we'll do is windows. And the windows, I've got a window on this corner, and I've got a window on this corner. They're all 8 feet wide from the edge of the walls. It doesn't have all the dimensions, but again, since it does mark 8 up and mark 8 over on this side, we'll assume that it's also 8 and 8 on that side. The first thing I want to do is I got to put corners in, and the corners are going to be on the wall layer. So I'm just going to draw a line. I'm going to do an L, enter, click from that to there, hit enter, start line again by hitting enter, and clicking there to there, and enter. And I'm going to do the same thing here. L, enter, click, 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 L, enter, click, and enter to end. Now, I don't want this on the medium layer. This is actually going to be the wall. At the edge of windows, you always need to use the wall layer. Just like we did here, it became obvious at the end of doors. This line and this line was part of the wall. It should be on the wall layer. Well, the same is true for windows. They should not, the ends of the wall should not be on the window layers. A lot of students get that confused. It should be on the wall layer. Mine happens to be on medium, so I'm just going to select it, select that corner, and change it to wall. And select this corner and change it to wall. Press escape, and then I'm going to offset each of these lines 8 feet to get the right size. So I'm going to offset 8 foot, enter, click the line, pull it up. It's off the screen, but when I zoom out I can see it there. Click this line, click it here, click this line, click it here, click this line, click it up again. That's just off my screen right there. Now, technically in this window, we need a line here, and we need a line here, and we need a line here, and here, and so on and so forth. But if this wall layer is going to be a thicker line weight, so my windows want to be thinner because I'm not actually cutting through. It's glass, it's an opening in the wall. So I'll actually have to trim up this wall and then redraw those lines on the layer we're going to use for windows. So I'm going to hit my trim button, hit enter, and just select those lines and select those lines there, select these lines over here and these lines over here, and hit enter when I'm done trimming, and I put holes in it. And I'm going to go back now and change to the layer we're going to use for windows, which is going to be light. So it's going to be this purple layer right here. Then I'll just draw a line back in place. I'm going to hit line, enter, enter to start line, enter to end line, and over this way, and over that way, and over this way, over this way, and up this way, and up this way. And the last thing we'll do, you'll notice that there's actually a middle line in all the windows. That's actually sort of representing the glass. So I'm just going to draw a line again, and I'm going to zoom in to this line and get the midpoint of my line. Click here and pull down and hit enter. Select the midpoint at this point, click, pull over, and then this side, click, pull over, click, and pull up. Now the last thing we need to draw, I'm just going to verify this. Yeah, we need to draw the kitchen in here, and there's a little I guess something credenza in this side here. It's not entirely clear how big all these elements are, so I'll just make some choices up here in this video as I'm going. We know the kitchen, most kitchen cabinets are 2 feet. So I'm going to start drawing a line. In fact, actually, I'm not going to draw a line. I'm going to offset 2 feet. Enter, 2 foot, enter. That line down, because that's going to be the cabinet width, and this line over. 2 feet. We also know from the drawing that this row of cabinets ends 11 feet from the wall. So I can offset again and type in 11 foot, enter. Click this line here and click over here. And the bottom wing of this cabinet actually ends at the end of the window. So I can just draw a line straight over. here, here, and enter. And I'm using different layers now, but it's okay, it'll all work out in the end. Certainly the cabinets do not want to be in the wall layers in the end. But first I'm going to fillet this all together. So I'm going to hit fillet, select here and here, hit enter to start fillet again, click here and here, and I've got the shape of the cabinet. Well, I want this all to be on this light layer, so I'm gonna go up to match properties. I'm gonna select the layer I like, which is this purple one, and then select the pieces that I want to move to that layer. So I select there and hit enter to end match properties. Lastly, for the drawing's sake, I have to put in the little credenza, as I'm going to call it here, which looks like it's about a foot out from the wall. So I'm going to do offset 1 foot, hit enter, click the wall, pull down, hit enter to do that offset, and I'm going to say that's a foot in from either side. So I could have kept that offset going, but I'm going to hit offset again, push enter because it's already set to a foot, pull it over that way, click and pull that line over that way, hit enter, then hit fillet, select this here, there, hit enter to redo fillet, click this line here and this line here, and then finally hit the trim button, hit enter, clean this up, hit enter to end, and I got to put this also on the light line layer. And I'll do this another way, which is just by selecting the lines, then changing the layer directly and pressing escape. So in that case, we have sort of all the objects drawn that are like really part of this house. But for this assignment, we're also going to do a little bit with text. So what I find interesting in here, and so I'm going to do it slightly differently from the way this is done. I think all text should be capital letters, and I know in the PDFs they are not using all capitals, but I'm going to, in this video, use all capitals, and that's what I'll request students to do. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to go to my Annotate tab, which was clicking up there. What I want to do is, there's different ways of doing this, but the way the instructions say in this booklet, sort of the way that I'll follow, is what you want to do is you want to use your text and you want to set this to Ark Annotative, which is probably the default if you're using the template that we've given you. And so I'm going to come here and to use the annotative text, anything that has the annotative in it, you have to set this thing down here. It'll be linked to the viewport, and you notice when we do viewports we sort of set this scale as well. We're not in a viewport, but we're basically setting a link to it, and this drawing is going to be at a quarter scale, so I need to select that to be a quarter scale. The other thing that it asks us to do is to set the text height, I think, to 1/8 inches, although we're going to have to change styles to do that, and I'm not sure that that's necessarily appropriate to do. I can switch it to annotative, perhaps. It's not letting me switch it. I don't want to go. Well, I'm gonna keep it to this annotative, this Ark Annotative, and change it back to 3/30 seconds as the default option there. Because I'm not going to get into how to change that, because that's, I feel like, is another lesson. So we'll just go and do that. And then to start drawing, I'm just going to draw a box and click, and then I can type in the words. And I think there's someone at my door, so I'm just going to pause this. All right, there was someone at my door there, so it was good to take care of dealing with a student. I know for your video it seems like no time has elapsed, but for me it has, so let me catch up. We were drawing some text. It's set to annotative. Actually, I can go ahead and change the text size here, and I think the instructions say set it to 1/8. So I'm going to do 1/8 and hit enter, and then I can type in the room names. So this is bedroom, so I'm just going to do BEDROOM, and then click outside the box, and it will draw it. Actually, the assignment has these as underlined, so I can edit this text just by double clicking on it. I'm going to select it all, and I'm going to hit the underline button, and it has made it all like that. And I'm going to change it to our text layer. So I'm going to come here down and select it to text. Now, of course, this text layer is black, and we can't see black on the screen, so I'm going to go to Layer Properties, change it from 250 I'm going to change it to cyan since that's what I seem to be doing of late. And I can close that and we can see it. Lastly, you'll notice in the instructions the room names are about centered in the room. For a label like that, you don't have to be super exact, but I'll just move it by eye to the center. So I'll hit the move button, select my object, push enter, click anywhere, sort of eye it up and move it into place. Now that one piece of text is well set, I'll just copy it around to the various rooms and then just enter the text as I need it. So I'm going to do copy, select my text, hit enter, then again be close to my text but sort of center it in that room, center it in this room, put it about where that piece of text should go. This piece, it's called entries right over here, and living straight over there. This living room is going to be more centered up that way. And then I'm just going to double click on each of these to type in the appropriate text. So bath, room there, bedroom's fine here. Change this to kitchen. Change this to dining. This to entry. And this to living. You'll note in the final drawing that down here it also says floor plan and the scale. So if I sort of zoom in here, right, let's see, right there it says floor plan. It has a line and a 1/4 inch scale. I'm going to put that in the layout space. So I'm going to save that text for a moment from now. So what I basically mean then is that this drawing as is here is going to be finished. So I am going to go up to layout to set up the rest of this. I'm going to go to the landscape version. Just like I've done before, I'm going to double click inside this viewport to activate it. I'm going to double click on my scroll wheel to zoom in, and then I'm going to set the scale. So I'm going to go down to this location here, scroll down to 1/4 inch scale, and pan it sort of into place. I'm going to generally center it left to right, but since I'm going to add that title, I'm just going to slightly cheat it to the top side and double click out to enter off of it. And oh, actually, you know what? I just realized I forgot the deck as well, so I should put the deck in there. There's no dimension for the deck, how wide it is, that I can see. So what I'm going to do is, that's okay. Even I'm not perfect all the time. I'm going to jump back into model space. I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to keep light because a deck is just the floor. That's going to want to be a light line weight. So I'm going to keep it on light line weight. I'm going to draw a line down. I'm going to say that's 6 feet wide. So I'm going to do 6 feet, enter, draw it straight over, click 6 feet, enter, draw it up. And then I'm going to copy a piece of text down, press enter, double click, and call it deck, and push enter. Now when I look at mine looks a little skinnier than the drawing, so maybe it was an 8-foot deck. So I can move this, enter, select the line, pull down 2 feet, enter, and then fillet those lines together. I could also have used stretch, but stretch I know is difficult for students to use, so that's why I showed that method in this case. Now I'll switch back to my board here. I can see my deck now. It looks a little low, so I'll double click inside, pan it up to the top of my board, and click over. Now I want to add this title here, so I'm going to go back to my text button. If you're not sure, make sure you're at multi-line text. Draw a box basically aligned with the edge of your building, here to here. Type in floor plan, and I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to type in scale. I know it's hard to see, but I'll deal with this in a second. Scale space 1/4 inch equals 1 foot 0 inches. Now you'll notice the title is bigger, and that's quite often the case. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say that it is there. I don't think any dimensions were given, so I'm going to say it's 1/4 inch. So I'm going to type 1/4, and we can see that has increased, and we also see that that is underlined. Other than that, it's generally always good to keep text height the same. So by default, this had made the text 3/32 of an inch, so I'm going to turn it back to 1/8 inches, just like the scale inside my drawing. And I'm going to take this whole thing, select it, and put it on the text layer. All right. And what you'll notice is this title is bigger, but even though I did it in different spots, and this is tricky, but this is why we set up the viewport scale correctly, is that this size of text and this size of text, they're exactly the same height at 1/8 inches. And you generally want to pay attention to those things. That other than titles, all your text is generally the same. Of course, the last step for these things would be to fill in this correctly. I know you guys could do that now. I don't need to review that. Then you go and print it to turn it in, and of course save the drawing. So I'm going to call this week 2 assignment B. You could call it floor plan, but I know for sure we have other floor plans coming up. So there we go. It's saved, and this video is done, and I will see you next time. Good luck.